Okay, so today we are going to be doing cardinals. The goal for today is I've given you watercolor paper. Watercolor paper is a little bit heavier paper. It's a little bit more expensive, but it can really hold a lot of water. So if you look, our goal for today is to get our cardinal drawn, our trees done, and then to do our background. Ooh, my table keeps jiggling. If you notice on this one, you can see that I use simple shapes to be able to draw my cardinal. I'm going to show you how to get this done. I just want you to watch. When you go to draw yours, if you want to put 2 cardinals on there, you can. If you just want 1, that is fine as well. To draw my cardinal very lightly, because I don't want my pencil lines to show, I'm going to draw a little bit harder so that you can see it. When you're drawing, hold your pencil lightly. You want to draw it lightly. But I'm going to start with an oval. On top of the oval, I'm going to draw a circle and a triangle. So when I come around and connect them all, and I'm just going to connect it with a Sharpie. When I come around to connect it all, I get my cardinal bird. And again, I'm keeping it pretty simple. There's my tail, and my tail almost looks like a triangle. Now, for some of you, you can look up cardinal and you can make your cardinal a little bit more detailed, but this is a pretty simple way to make your cardinal. The cardinal's face is black, so it's almost like a rainbow that I drew there. For my, I shouldn't have colored that, my bad. Since I already did, I'm going to go ahead and finish it. So the face is black. For your wing, kind of like a teardrop shape. Once I've drawn this part, you can draw his little clawed feet, and then I'm going to start to draw some branches. He's kind of nestled in a tree. So I'm going to kind of draw some branches that are overlapping and they're running off the page. If you want to, you could draw a few pine needles. It doesn't have to be in a pine tree. It could just be off a regular tree, where you don't have to draw the pine needles. Today, we're going to draw, and you're going to do this in pencil. You're going to draw your cardinal. Again, you can use your iPad if you want to look up a cardinal. We are making the male cardinals. The male cardinals are the ones that are red. And you're going to draw your trees. You could hold your paper sideways if you wanted to and maybe do 2 cardinals on there. That is up to you. Today, draw it in pencil. You have time, you can outline it in a Sharpie. And with about 15 minutes left in class, we're all going to paint our background. You don't have to get it done in Sharpie today because we can always outline it in Sharpie next week. Okay, when everything's drawn and it seems like you guys are getting enough done that you're ready to paint, I'm going to suggest you get a board, and you and a partner can share a board off the drying rack. We're not going to do it now because I'm talking. I'm getting 2 different sets of watercolors. So I got one off the top basket, one off the bottom basket. I'm going to wake up. Again, I don't care if you want to do a sunrise, if you want it to be a sunset, if you just want to do a cold morning. I'm going to just keep mine all in shades of blue. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm really going to layer up the water. It's watercolor paper, so it should be able to hold the water. Watercolor acts like a little I don't know what the word is I'm looking for. I'm painting around what I want to paint, and the water is only going to stay where I painted. So if I don't want it on my branches, don't put water on those places. Then, this is so hard for people to do. I'm just going to add color. I'm not brushing the color on. I'm not going back and forth and scrubbing. I'm just adding bits of color so that they can all blend in on their own. I don't need to. I just want them to blend in on their own. And it's okay if there's some white showing. The white could be clouds. When you're done, I'm just going to let it, I'm not going to move it. What's going to happen if I pick it up?
The water will go everywhere.
The water will go everywhere. So we're just going to let it sit. Today we are going to finish our cardinals. So when you get your paper, some of you need to finish outlining. So go back with your Sharpie and outline. I did most of my outlining, but I'm going to get an extra fine tip Sharpie and go ahead and draw some of those pine needles on my branch. You don't have to draw them on, but I already got everything else outlined. So the first thing you want to do is make sure everything's outlined in Sharpie. Second thing, very lightly get an eraser and try to erase any of those pencil lines that you still have on there from last week. Again, I've got two different sets of watercolors. Kind of hard to tell, but they are different. I like to get different sets because the reds are different. Today I'm going to wake up different shades of red, even some oranges a little bit. I'm going to give those a minute to set in. I'm also going to wake up a little bit of green because I want mine to be evergreen trees and brown. Though I'm not going to lie, it's kind of hard to figure out what the brown is on that one. Some of you colored your face in black with a Sharpie. That's fine. If you didn't, you can paint it black today, which works if you colored your eye in with a Sharpie. You are going to want probably 2 skinny paint brushes. When I paint this, you might want to have a Kleenex handy, not a paper towel, but a Kleenex, because a Kleenex is going to absorb. If I accidentally get some of this red paint with the black, it's going to absorb. Like we did with our background, I want to use a couple of different colors as I'm painting my cardinal. They are red, but they're going to be different shades of red. Put a little bit of orange in there. You're welcome to Google a regular cardinal, because again, we are making the red cardinals. And I do want all those shades of red. And like we did last time, you can let those colors kind of blend and bleed together. Small paintbrush I'm being facile. I needed a Kleenex because a little bit of my red got up there. It's kind of the nature of watercolors. I do think it's kind of pretty when those colors bleed like that. That's why you definitely want a small paintbrush to keep them from running together. And again, oh, I like that. Using 2 different kinds of browns to give the illusion. Last thing I can do is I'm going to do, again, with a skinny paintbrush, I can go and add some of my green. Using 2 different shades of green. Now, you don't have to make it an evergreen. That is up to you. When you're done, Let it sit and dry for just a second. It shouldn't take too long unless you get this really wet. Notice I didn't paint that with water first. I just painted it right with my reds and all of those. When you're done, you're going to come back here to this table because our little cardinal is out in the frigid cold. I'm going to put paint on a toothbrush, and then I'm going to gently flick so that it looks like it is snowing. Now, what happens is if this is still wet, then my paint just gets soaked into the paint. That's why you want to make sure that your cardinal is pretty dry before you come back here to paint. It shouldn't take a super long time for that to dry, but you do want it to be dry before you start to flick paint. If you get a big blob like that, that's just part of it. That's fine. It's a big snowflake. When you're all done, you want to post it to Artsonia.